right, what's up? What's happening? What's good, y'all? What it do, baby? You are tuned in to another edition of the Why Not Us, Why Not Now podcast. It's your boy Xavier, aka Zay, aka X, joined by my brother from another, Kory Blackshear, aka KB. KB, what's going on, bro?
What's happening? What's happening?
Man, we are pleased to be joined tonight by a special guest, somebody me and KB go way back with, man. It feels a little strange to say way back at this point, but I mean, we starting to hit that status. But we go way back with this brother, man. Going through the halls of Newton High School together a little more than a decade ago. Always talking about sports. This man always kept us laughing in class, no matter what. But no, we grown out here now. We all doing our thing. Proud to welcome to the show a good brother of ours, Demetrius Lewis, aka we call him Nate. Nate, what's good, bro?
What's going on? Y'all good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, it's great to have you on here tonight. We appreciate you taking the time. One of the things that you've been big on in the past few years, and it doesn't surprise me because you used to talk about video games a lot when we were in school, is streaming. Talk to us a little bit about how you got involved into that world and how it's just evolved to where it is for you now.
Well, I always love video game, man. I always love, playing Madden, playing NCAA, and as the gaming world expands, games get bigger, games get larger. So I started hopping into like the RPGs, the MMOs. I started hopping into like co-op, and as back then. Online wasn't really online how online is now. Like you can play with Xbox, you can play with PC. So back then nobody really had a PC. So now I got a PC. So it's just like I evolve with time with the video games. You know what I'm saying? Like I evolve with time with the video games, and it's just a form of joy to me now. It's like a hobby, and I enjoy doing it. Like every time I get on, I stream. I don't have a problem streaming. I got a couple. I can show y'all. I got like a couple like portable things right here. Got like portable. I got a portable Ali X. This is a portable PC. This run for like 2 bands. I got the brand new Xbox Ali X. I got that. I had to grab the PlayStation Portal just to have the PlayStation Portal. So, but with that being said, man, I'm big on, games and stuff, keeping up with the latest objects. And bro, I just want to be I'm not even gonna say I want to be one of the biggest gamers. I want to be one of the most entertaining gamers to where I don't want to, no disrespect to Kai, I don't want to be on that like that level. I just want to be that person where, I want people to be able to come to my stream and come to my chat and know that I'm gonna show them love regardless. Like that's just my goal is to give back to kids, give back to the community, give back to y'all. It's just what I want to do. It's just something I love.
And you always did talk about always giving back in school. So, I mean, that's an automatic. I already know that that's something that you're big on in particular when it comes to things like that. But for anybody who wants to get involved in this world of streaming that you're in now, what's the biggest piece of advice that you have for them? Because, I mean, people jump into something, they expect it to blow up immediately. But like these things don't happen overnight.
Um, the most advice I can give anybody to streaming is to keep going every day. Like, if you got time to play the game, stream it. If you got time to do it, stream. Like anytime I get on it, like I only stream multiplayer co-op games. I don't stream single player games. So I stream multiplayer games because I want to get my friends involved. So we might make a joke, or somebody might be dying the whole night on Call of Duty, or somebody might be, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. So I just try to, stay within like my limits with certain games. But like I said, multiplayer games are really like my asset to everything. And and it's entertaining to you watching me play Call of Duty and you see me dying 50 times and I rage. That's funny. People like to see people rage quit. And it's just, I don't know. I found the niche and I found like the criteria within streaming. Like I have the blueprint. I just gotta keep applying myself so people can understand the blueprint.
No, that's big, bro. Congratulations on all the success. I know that there's more set to come along the way. One of the games in particular I know that you are huge on because I see different clips is Madden. Just talk to us
Oh
just about how
yeah.
that's been
Oh
going.
yeah. I gotta hit my soundboard for this one. Hey man. Y'all know better, man. See, I'm not just a top 100 Madden player, but bro, we play Madden. I'm gonna give you a run for your money. And the reason why I love Madden so much, when I lose, I rage. When I win, I rage. Like it doesn't matter. I entertain people every time. Like I talk to people, I ask them where they from. It's just, I just that stuff is entertaining. Like if I meet somebody, like the thing with me with streaming is like it's not hard for me to meet a stranger. You get what I'm saying? It's a lot. It's hard for a lot of people to meet a stranger and just oh da 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 da. Da. You know what I'm saying? Like it's this clip I got on Instagram. This dude had long live my pops, and I had did a you know how they did with the Kobe, like they didn't throw the ball in for 24 seconds. I ain't hiked the ball for 30 seconds. I did a moment of silence for his pops. I gained like 50 followers just for doing that. You feel what I'm saying? Now he and to this day, like he still follow me. He still play me. Like I do stuff like that. Or if a kid if I'm playing with like a kid or something, he like, "Oh, yeah, I'm in high school, bro. Da, da, da." I might be like, you know what, bro? I'm gonna see one of my shirt, and this is my clothing line too, Cruel Summer, man. Y'all check it out. Like, I might be like, hey, bro, I'm gonna do a raffle this weekend. Come on, join up. And I do small things for the community, man, so they know like when they come to my page is love. Like, I don't care if it's one person in the chat, three people in the chat, 300 in the chat. Everybody gonna feel love when they come to my chat.
No, that's real, bro. And salute to you for that, for real. Because I mean, I know for a fact, KB knows for a fact, this is just you being yourself, and
Yeah,
this is why your platform is growing exactly the way that it is too.
you feel me? And like this is like what I want to do. You feel me? Like all the joking in high school, the playing around. Like I can do that here and be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Without getting kicked out of class or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Nate was a professional at that, but like, hey, he kept us laughing though. He kept those classes light when they needed some moments to be light for real.
Nah, for real. Like, and then like, as we grow up, bro, I'm never gonna change on y'all. Like, we ain't gotta talk every day or talk every night. Like, bro, I see Kory all the time out, social events. So it's just like I'm just gonna always be that same person. Like it's never gonna be a like, oh, there go Nate, bro. Oh, I don't talk to him. Or no, I'm a deputy. Like, bro, what's up, bro? So, you know,
No, that's real though, man. And then this whole brotherhood thing, it's a real thing that we talk about on here. It's real. Like, and I just want everybody out there to understand that, like, what you see between the three of us, I mean, this thing goes back to high school. I know that I haven't seen these brothers honestly face to face since we graduated, but the brotherhood, the camaraderie, the love, it's all the same, man. It's still there. And it's like if we would all be in the same building at the same time, we would literally be catching up like old times like it was nothing. Because, I mean, that's real right there. And it's rare, especially in today's world where you have something that's that real. So I just want to say before we get into the topics, man, I appreciate you brothers for being who y'all are and being stand up men and just always being who you are.
nah, for sure.
For
Nah, for
sure, for
sure.
sure.
Appreciate that, man.
KB, you got anything real quick before we get into the topics?
Nah, man, just like you said, man, Nate been around for forever. You know what I'm saying? We've been good since high school. You know what I'm saying? He one of the guys I still, talk to this day. Both of y'all actually I still, talk to even before we started this whole podcast. It was always, we had some form of communication. Like he said, it wasn't like we were talking every day, but when we touched bases, it was always, catching up like we had just left each other. So, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate the relationship that we on built over the years, still keeping in touch. You know what I'm saying? We on establish something, even outside of high school, seeing each other every day. So, like I said, I appreciate y'all boys. Y'all, y'all brothers for life. Y'all know that. So, it's always love though.
Nah, for
Yes,
sure.
sir. I echo that 100%. All right, fellas, we got to get into the topics at hand, man. We got to go to the NBA to start things off because the Los Angeles Clippers, KB, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And here they go proving our point again because I believe it was you that said that bad teams make desperate moves. And we saw them make so many desperate moves in the past few years, but this offseason in particular. And I don't understand why people thought, okay, this was a borderline title contender. With the ages of the players on these teams, we know that Chris Paul didn't have too much left in the tank. James Harden still got some game left, but how much of that is empty calories now compared to stats that actually help you win? Kawhi Leonard, he's never really there because he just cannot stay off the men. And the main guy I called to the forefront, Lawrence Frank, he showed himself in the past 24 hours. So, for those who don't know, Chris Paul is no longer a member of the Los Angeles Clippers. And that is because overnight, while this team was on their trip in Atlanta, the Clippers and the Hawks are actually playing right now as we speak, they decided to send him home and release him from the team right then and there in that moment. You talk about an embarrassment and a tire fire of an organization all the way. Now, Lawrence Frank, he did send a statement to ESPN and said that things just did not work out. It's not anything against Chris personally. It's just where we are as an organization. You could have handled this when you were back at home. And just the fact of the matter, and I want this to also be known to everybody too. Just a couple of weeks ago, Chris Paul came out and announced that this would be his final season in the NBA. He came back to the Clippers in particular because he wanted to come back home and he wanted to be next to his family. He wanted to be there with his family, who he said he had not really been with KB for, I want to say, at least the past 5 or 6 years. When that move happened where he got traded to Houston, I believe that was the last time he said he was with his family because they never relocated the family outside of LA. And he is arguably the greatest Clipper player of all time. He's the greatest player to ever touch base in that organization, if we're being honest. And things are not going well for that organization. They're trash right now. It's a hot mess, the way that things have been created. I know that we talked weeks ago about Nico Harrison and him trading Luka to the Lakers and how people thought that was the worst move ever. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think you got to allow that thing to age over time. We don't know what Luka's going to accomplish in LA. It all looks good right now. But Lawrence Frank, this man traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and 5 first-round picks to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Paul George because Kawhi wanted that. And at first, at the time in 2019, it was like, okay, this could work. We're in 2025. We can officially say it didn't work. It's arguably the worst trade in NBA history, and Kawhi Leonard is arguably the worst free agent signing in NBA history. He has been injured all the time. I don't judge him for that, but the way that he doesn't promote the team, he doesn't promote the game, very standoffish. And what he had to say last week, y'all, in terms of we need to get better players around us, the team was in a position to be able to do that. Doc Rivers begged y'all not to move off Shea and to not move off any of those picks. But because they wanted to appease to you, again, going back to what KB said, bad organizations make desperate moves. Look at where they're at now. You can make an argument that they've been set back for 10 to 15 years. And this isn't going to do them any favors either when it comes down to those free agents, because no matter how you feel about Chris Paul, his accomplishments, what he has done, what he hasn't done, he did not deserve that. You at least wait until you get back home to LA and you make that clear that, hey, this is the move we're making. All right, fine. At least we're back home. You don't send that man back home when you're on the road trip like that. And the reasons that we're being told that this happened, y'all, and then I'm going to hand it off to y'all, is because, and Lou Will, he went on his podcast and talked about this, arguably because Chris Paul had things to say about the front office, the coaches, and the players. So basically, Chris Paul got fired from the Clippers because he wanted to hold people accountable. Make it make sense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly look at this like a scapegoat situation. Like they're losing, they're sputtering. They don't own their first round pick that belongs to OKC next year, and this is a loaded draft coming up. So honestly, they could be giving OKC a top 5 pick while also having a chance at winning back-to-back titles this year. Honestly, you got to look at that trade situation that you were just referring to. The Paul George trade is honestly one of the worst trades ever. Like it arguably could be the worst trade, like you said, in NBA history, just because what you got in return was one conference finals appearance. That's it. In the tenure with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they got the one conference finals appearance where Kawhi Leonard wasn't even healthy during that run. So I have to look at Lawrence Frank as you have to be held accountable. And like I said, when you're losing, a lot of things, people are frustrated, but the fact that Chris Paul, who's on his farewell tour, who has no significant impact on the team or the game right now whatsoever. He's being, dismissed from the team. That just shows me that y'all aren't really, paying attention to what's really important. Because y'all got a lot more problems than Chris Paul being vocal about the leadership in the Clippers organization. You got a lot going on. You got part-time players. You got bad culture. But it's been pretty much a bad culture. It's been pretty much a bad culture, like pretty much as long as the Clippers have been a franchise. They have not really established any type of culture. And they tried to buy a winning culture with Kawhi and PG, and that didn't work. So the way I look at it is Chris Paul just happened to be the odd man to get the blame because of the fact that he was the only one to probably question them about the decisions they were making front office wise and the decisions that T. Lue was making from a game plan standpoint that he just didn't understand. They're not winning. I think right now they're number 14 in the West. They don't have any future. And really the point that needs to be addressed is if this is a legend of the game, you do not do that on a road trip when you could have just, because honestly, I don't really see what the significance of releasing him is. Like, you could, unless you were trying to get him to a contender in his last year to give him an opportunity to play for a ring. That would be more of a, good faith gesture more than anything. But the fact that they gave him pretty much no notice and just said, we're good on it. We don't need you anymore. I just felt like that was kind of corny. Thought that was kind of cheesy. And for you to disrespect one of your legends, I don't think that Chris Paul would ever view the Clippers in a good light anymore, just based off of the fact of how they treated him in his farewell tour.
And not only that, and Nate, I'm gonna toss it to you after this. Now, reports did come out today saying that Chris Paul and head coach Ty Lue had not been on speaking terms basically for the past few weeks. But this is just one of the wildest things I've ever seen, man. It's like you don't do that to one of the legends of the game, especially when they're on a farewell tour, like KB said. But like, I don't even know where to start when it comes down to this team with what really they can do at this point because they lost their opportunity about 2 seasons ago, in my opinion, when they had a chance to trade PG and trade Kawhi when there was still some actual trade value for them. You were never going to be able to undo that Oklahoma City trade, but you had a chance to trade them while there still was some value for them. I wouldn't trade for Kawhi Leonard at this point. I don't know if I would even trade for James Harden at this point, even though he is putting up numbers. But like I said, that stuff could be empty calories at this point. And then they made a bunch of other desperate moves. Keeping Chris Dunn, who we knew was not a franchise player. Going after John Collins. Going and getting Bradley Beal, thinking that that was going to work. I don't even know where they can start at this point. I believe the best thing for them to do, and Nate, I'm going to toss it to you after this. I think they need to clean house. They need to completely start over at this point. And I'm not even saying that Ty Lue is necessarily the person at fault for all of this, but they just need a fresh slate at this point because this was horribly handled all the way around, from ownership all the way down.
Like you said, my boy, clean house, sweeper, man. They need to get him up out of there, literally. Cause they're like, how can you do that to Chris Paul, bro? Chris Paul, like, this my thing. Like, Chris Paul is a legend. Ring or not, he's a legend. He's like one of my top 10 point guards I ever seen play. Like, watch play. I witness him play. Like, how can you do that to a legend? And like you said, like Kory said, bro, the Clippers don't have a winning foundation. They try to buy a foundation. You bought Bradley Beal, didn't work. What you got? What you got? You bought Paul George. That didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Now he at the 76ers. You bought Kawhi Leonard. It's like you bought Kawhi Leonard on his last leg. Kawhi Leonard really showed you what he could do with the Spurs. Like that was Kawhi Leonard. That was the claw. I don't even look at him as the claw no more. So it's just like I understand business is business, but it's like respect is respect. You gotta start respecting these legendary players. Like I feel like in the NBA, some people look at legendary players, oh, he not a legend because he don't have a ring. Now, Chris Paul put up numbers, put up assists. Like Chris Paul got real highlights. Like, did they not watch him when he was with the Hornets? You know what I'm saying? Before they became the Bobcats. You feel me? So it's just like it's just like I don't know, but
Nate,
I
not to
would.
cut you off, but I'm gonna just throw two words in there to validate even more what you're saying. Lob City.
That's it. That's it. It's it. DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I really wish Chris Paul would have went. I really wish he would have went to the Spurs and played with Wemby, bro. That's just what I would have wished he would have did, bro. He would have been able to chill. It's a lot of young guys over there, so Chris Paul would have been able to relax at the Spurs, throw the ball to Wemby, like you said, Lob City. I don't know. I don't really have too much to say on this topic because I just don't like the disrespect when it comes to the NBA players. But like you said, bro, business is business. So hey, Chris Paul, if you ever watch this, you'll always be my number one point guard, bro. We love you. I appreciate everything you did in the league, dog. Literally.
Yeah, Nate, I feel what you're saying, but and another thing that I really want to touch bases with is I know his willingness to be around his family, especially in his last year. And it just so happens a team right across the way that's still in Los Angeles happens to have an open roster spot. He happens to be good friends with one of the main stars on that team. Could we possibly see him in LA with that final roster spot? I don't know if and I can see a lot of people like no because of the fact that the Lakers have championship aspirations. They're going for something. They may want to use that roster spot to possibly strengthen up their championship chances. But I mean, if they looking at just wanting to bring somebody in that could possibly run the show when Luke and LeBron are not in the game, I mean, I could see it. I could see LA. I could even see a team. I could even see him possibly going to, and this is more, like I said, this is not more so we're looking to add Chris Paul because of what he can add to the team. This is more of a good faith gesture just to give him an opportunity to possibly sniff a finals appearance if he were to go to the right team. I think that just because of his reputation in the league, some may be willing to take a waiver out on him just because of the fact that they want to show good faith and good gesture. Because right now, him being sent home from the Clippers, I mean, there's nowhere for him to there's no team that necessarily needs a 40-year-old point guard, backup point guard. They just don't. So anything would be just more so we're doing this because of what you've done for the game, not because of what you can help us with, because you really can't help us with anything at this stage in your career.
So, KB, I heard this earlier. So, let me ask you this. Do you think that there's a small possibility that maybe OKC could offer him the spot? Because he did go over there in what was supposed to be a rebuilding year and kept them at least in playoff status and was basically a great mentor for Shea, who probably helped put him in line to be on the trajectory that he's on now.
I was thinking that too and I think I was thinking it more so because of the relationship he has with Shay. He talked about how much he influenced his career early on when he was still developing. So I could see Shay advocating for him to come over to OKC, and what I'm saying, like, I would love that just because this really would give him a real shot. This would give him as close a shot as he's had in his whole career outside of the Houston and outside of the Phoenix years. This would be the best chance that he has to go to a finals and actually win a finals in his last year. I think that relationship with Shea alone would be enough to, OKC to just advocate getting him over there. He doesn't even have to play. He could just play a mentor role and that be fine.
Remember, the Spurs did something like this with T Mac in 2013. Unfortunately, they couldn't finish the job for him to get his ring, but they did something very similar like that with him. Something else to it, too, if you guys will remember when Shea was finally awarded the league MVP before game one of the Western Conference Finals last year? Chris Paul showed up in OKC just for that moment to applaud him and to give him the ovation that he deserves and to give him his flowers for getting up to that point. So yes, there's something there with the relationship there. I could see them just bringing him in. Will he ever touch the floor for them? That's something that remains to be seen because that's still the youngest team in the NBA, winningest team in the NBA too, bar none. But somebody has to do something to right this wrong because, like, you can't justify what the Clippers did here today. There's no way that you can justify that and think that it's okay in any way whatsoever. And I'll say it again. That organization there, man, it's funny how on the outside looking in about 5 years ago, it looked like they were the superior team in LA, and it was nowhere even close to that point. Now the band-aids have all started to come off, and we really see some of the stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. And who knows how much more of it that we're going to find out as this season continues to go on.
Fellas, does this kind of remind you, not in the same like sense, but a little bit? This kind of remind you of how the Carmelo Anthony situation happened at the end of his career. They weren't winning. They released him for no, like literally, he wasn't the issue, but they were made to believe that he was the main problem and that they were better off without him because of what was going on. And so he had to spend his tail end of his career just basically bouncing around pretty much from team to team. It's not exactly the same, but it kind of is very familiar, like in the same sense of he was on a team released early into the season, basically made the scapegoat for the struggles that the team was having, and on a road trip at that, and being told your services are no longer needed. This kind of reminds me just a little bit of it, a little bit like that.
It's the closest to that situation that I would say that is close to that. Because at first, remember, we were saying in the offseason when Russ was not signed by anybody before Sacramento picked him up, okay, this is looking very Carmelo Anthony like. But no, what you brought up, what happened with him in Houston and how they just released him and how he ended up basically being blackballed for the remainder of that season, pretty much. And then coming back early into that next season, getting signed by the Blazers. This does feel like it's something like that. But it's also unprecedented territory, Nate, because this man has already announced that this is his last season. Surely this is not going to be the final time we see Chris Paul play basketball, right?
He need to go to OKC and get him a ring, and I'm putting him on my prize picks as soon as he go over there. Chris Paul, 15 assists under. Let's get it.
Hey, if it is one thing he still can do, he may not be able to score the ball effectively anymore. He can still dish that rock out. And I mean, we saw that with him and Wemby last year in San Antonio, and I think it actually helped Wemby's game a lot.
Nah, for sure. Like Chris Paul is probably one of the greatest assist leaders that I've seen play, and that I told you like I've witnessed him play like in person. So it's just like watching him play is different. Like he's a great point guard. Like he almost beat the 2000 or was it 2015-16 Warriors? Was it like when then they get hurt? When they took him like game 7, game 6?
So this is 2015, what you're referring to when
Yeah, they went to the Western Conference Finals, game 7. Like they almost beat the Warriors. Like when the
no.
Warriors.
So no, that's not what happened. They should have been in the Western Conference Finals. What happened
You're
was they
right. You're
blew
right.
that 3-1 lead against Houston.
Show did. Yeah, that's
And
what
this
it
was
was.
in the 2015 season before Golden State had won anything. Because I'm with you on this. If the Warriors and the Clippers had played in that 2015 Western Conference Finals, I don't think the Warriors would have been playing in that 2015 Finals.
No, I was saying when Chris Paul was on the Rockets.
Yeah,
Oh
he
yeah.
he referred to the KD
Okay.
Warriors.
Yeah,
Okay, I
that's what
got you.
I'm talking about.
2018.
That's what I'm talking about.
2018.
That's
Okay,
what
I
I'm
got you
talking
now.
about.
Yes.
Like that's when
Yes.
Chris Paul had a fair chance. Like the Rockets was loaded. You know what I'm saying? This when James Harden was dropping 45, 50 a night. Like they had a chance, but he missed his chance because he got injured. So it's kind of just like Chris Paul been in the league for so long, he finally got a chance and he got injured. So it's kind of just like for y'all to just cut him like that, it's crazy. That's like another injury to the heart. You know what I'm saying? That's just like some pain that he can never patch up. Like he might be smiling right now, but that really hurt. Like that hurts. You know what I'm saying? It already hurt players who retire with no ring. You feel what I'm saying? And I was actually a factor in the NBA. Like he was a factor. Like he just wasn't a player. He was a factor.
Yeah.
And
Very
to
Charles
be
Barkley,
honest,
Patrick Ewing type. Yeah, for sure.
and to be honest with y'all, had he not gone against those KD led Warriors, I think he would have been sitting on possibly 1 or 2 rings. Because honestly, I'm looking at that Cleveland team that he would have possibly faced in 2018. They would have beat Cleveland. They would have beat Cleveland. I just how that Houston team was constructed. The Warriors were the only team that was their kryptonite. So I'm looking at the rest of the league. Like, yeah, with James Harden, the level of play that he was playing at, especially that first year when they had KD and them on the ropes. That first year, I think it was 2017. They had KD on the ropes, KD and Steph and the boys on the ropes. And honestly, if it was anybody else, just anybody else, Chris Paul possibly got multiple rings now. And had he had those multiple rings, I felt like he probably would have already rolled off into the sunset, to be honest.
Well, I agree with you 100% because he hasn't been the same player arguably since 2022. It was the second half of that 2022 season. Remember, Phoenix was the one seed in the West, and Dallas rolled in there and they beat them handedly in that game seven. He hasn't been the same player, honestly, since that moment. And don't forget, in 2021, him and Devin Booker and the Suns, they rolling into the finals, and then they just ran into Giannis and company.
No comment. No.
I mean, that honestly could have went either way. But hey,
That was too
salute,
much. That was too much. That Drew Holiday, Giannis, that was too much. Chris Middleton, that was too much. That
They
was too
still
much.
had him up 2-0 though. They had him up 2-0. And if it wasn't for, I think that the game plan that they had broke down where they were letting Giannis get running starts and he was going one-on-one the entire time. I think that they had a good game plan to start out those first two games. I think they had that series won and it collapsed. Um, I I can't even explain what happened because I felt like Monty Williams that year had a good game plan. And then I think that the Bucks made their adjustments and Phoenix didn't have a counterpunch for their adjustments. And I think that pretty much ultimately decided that series. But to say that they had that, like they honestly possibly should have beaten the Bucks that year. 2021 was really wide open. So I really felt like that was their year. That was Chris Paul's year. And I felt bad for him because he said he was addicted after making the finals and hasn't gone back since. That just lets you know it's not that easy.
no, it's not. But we're gonna close this one out just by saying salute to Chris Paul. Hopefully, that's not the last time we've seen you play. But if it is, we appreciate you and we thank you for all the memories. And we know you're gonna be in the Hall of Fame one day, first ballot for sure. Got to get to some NFL and some football now because Nate, your Dolphins, man, they making a late run here. The winners of the last three straight. KB, when we were in the first month and a half or so of doing this, all we came on here and talked about was when are they going to get Mike McDaniels out of town? In particular, after the game in Cleveland against the Browns, both of them coming in with terrible records, and the Browns just stormed all over them out there on that field. I thought for sure that was going to be the end of Mike McDaniels. But now I got to honestly ask the question, has Mike McDaniels possibly came back from the dead and saved his job with the Miami Dolphins? Will we actually not see him leave Miami? Nate, how you feeling about everything?
Return of the Mac. My boy is back. You feel me? Hey man, listen. The Dolphins, I don't know how to explain it. Like, we don't suck, but we not good. We just like that mediocre team. You know you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't suck. We not five, but we all right. And we gonna make it happen. And that's what we've been doing, making it happen. But it's like McDaniels is a good coach. It's just I feel like honestly we play better without Tyree Hill. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Tyree Hill broke the morale of our team. If you notice, everything is a flow now. Tua is passing better. Like I feel like Tua was really under pressure trying to get the ball to Tyree Hill a lot versus spreading it out to his other wide receivers. And you see Akane, our running back, doing great. You know what I'm saying? I miss Monster, but Akane is doing great. So I definitely want the Dolphins. I really want us to pick up another quarterback. I mean, I want to use Brewers from Texas. Shout out to them, but it's like they're not using them. They're not, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then when they did try to use them, it didn't work out. So, you know, I don't know. We're a mediocre team. You know, I'm gonna rep my team regardless if we 17 and 0, 0 and 17. But I feel like with Mac Daniels being a coach, he's a great coach. He just got put. Some coaches are great coaches. They just get put in bad positions. You get what I'm saying? Like that's just, I feel like that's just sometimes that's the cards he dealt and just got to deal with them. Some coaches are great, like Andy Reid. He's a great coach. He just got dealt some bad cards this year, hurt players. You know what I'm saying? Bad calls, no calls. So it's just like when you fire a coach, I think you should give a coach a chance. Like give him a couple years to recruit. And it's not just the head coach all the time. It's the we got rid of Chris Brewer. We got rid of Chris Greer, our general manager. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like when you advocate for certain things, you got to be able to understand like, okay, it's not the coach. Sometimes it's the player. Sometimes like when you get rid of a player, like I'm gonna use the Miami Heat for example, right? They got rid of Jimmy Butler and they've been playing the best basketball ever. You know what I'm saying? It's the morale of the team. So it's just like I feel like the biggest key to us was losing Tyree Hill. And I know it sounds crazy because Tyree Hill is probably one of the greatest slot receivers I ever seen play, other than Dante Hall. But we're gonna get that's a deeper story. But like I just feel like we don't need Tyree Hill, even though we tanked on him, spent our money on him, you know, gave up draft picks for him. I think it's just a learning curve. And Matt Daniels, he gonna be okay, bro. I feel like even if we don't win out the season, I just want to break even. Like even if we go 8-8, 9-9, you know what I'm saying? Or even if we go 7-9, he made a comeback from being 0-4. He's won what? We won what? Five straight. We like 5-7. So it's just like you came back, and it's hard to win football games in the NFL. Like nobody understands that. You know what I'm saying? Like look at the Falcons. Sorry, Kory, but look at the Falcons. Like, like, like I'm just saying. Like, look at the Patriots. Like, no one would ever think that the Patriots would be 11-2 right now.
But it just goes to the point to show how important that coaching really is. Because I mean, look at the situation that the New York Giants have been in, honestly, since they let Tom Coughlin go or since they mutually parted ways. That's going back all the way to 2015. They haven't even been a stable organization since then. The Jets haven't been a stable organization since they let Rex Ryan go around that same time period, too. So, yes, you're 100% right. Coaching is very important because, yes, the whole time we were sitting here calling for his job, or we were wondering if they were going to let him go. We just did not know, has he lost the locker room? Because it was looking like that to start the season. But it's funny to me too, Nate. You brought up Tyreek Hill. I agree with you on that. They traded Jalen Phillips away, and we thought that was an automatic. They going into the tank move, and the defense has been playing better since he left. That's crazy to me a little bit.
Man, sometimes, man, like I said, it's the players, bro. Like Tyree Hill, bro, he's a great player, but he had bad morale for the team. Like if he didn't like remember summertime we lost, we didn't go to the playoffs. You know, Tyree Hill, he got spoiled at Kansas City. He was used to going to the playoffs. He was used to going 11-5, 11-4, going to the AFC championship, going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. Like when you get traded to different teams, you gotta adjust. Uh Tua will never be a Patrick Mahomes. Half of these quarterbacks will never be a Patrick Mahomes. So you gotta think about if if you and Kory play for the Chiefs and I get traded to the Dolphins, I'm like, man, like I gotta deal with Tua. Tua can't really throw, or Tua can't throw a deep ball, or Tua's specialty is drag routes. His specialty is drag routes, comeback routes. He like the bullet pass. Patrick Mahomes can do everything. So from leaving a quarterback that can do everything, so I gotta adjust to a quarterback that can only do something. It's like what do I do? Then I don't go to the playoffs. Then I get on the media and say, "Oh, I want to get traded. I want to lead the Dolphins." Then you come back on the media 2 months and say, "Oh, nah, I want to make the team work." So it's kind of just like once you put that red flag in the air, you can't wave a white flag now. So I just feel like when he did break his leg, he's smiling like you smiling off the cart doing one of these. It's like, was that is that because you broke your leg that you get to lead the Dolphins, or you broke your leg that you okay? You feel what I'm saying? So it's just like I'm glad that he's gone, and maybe when I turn 50, we're gonna get a Super Bowl. So yeah, we're gonna be all right.
I'm gonna come back to you on Tua in a moment, but KB, Where are you on this? Because we went all the way in on this Mike McDaniel's topic nearly every single week. I mean, do you think that we have proven ourselves wrong in this case and that this man will be back in 2026?
I mean, I think that it's a possibility that he will be back because, you know, good coaches are hard to come by. And honestly, my thing with Mike McDaniel, I think he's a great coordinator. I always stood by that. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. Like if you have him at the helm of your offense, it's going to be creative, it's going to be innovative, it's going to have some flow to it. Now, the only thing is, if you let him go, who would you be possibly even targeting? I don't even know who would be on their radar right now. I guess, like I heard people mention they are monitoring Mike Tomlin's situation in Pittsburgh. I don't necessarily see, that being a viable option, but I've heard that name being floated around. You also got to look at people like what are the Bills going to possibly do with Sean McDermott if they flame out again, possibly if they make the playoffs this year. You have to look at that, but you don't all. But all of these are variables right now that we don't know about. Now, I do like the way they've been playing inspired football, and can y'all guess which game? Guess which game got them going? I'll let y'all let that marinate for y'all right quick. But guess which game got the Dolphins going in their winning ways? I
Oh, we
bet
know
y'all
which
can.
game it is that you're talking about, and we're going to talk
Uh,
about them as a whole in just a moment because I know you need to get some stuff off your chest.
yeah. It's a couple of things, but they've been playing inspired football. At first, I might have been wrong because I did think he lost the locker room at one point. I thought that they were tuned out whatever message he had for them. But overall, he got some talented players on that roster. We just got, like I said, sometimes it's just, winning cures everything. I will say that winning cures everything, and he has a lot of talent. Now, as far as the quarterback position, I am not. I'm still not sold on Tua as the long term option at quarterback. I do feel like that, because I don't feel like this upcoming draft is a loaded class. I think that they need to just get a veteran, like a bridge quarterback. They need a bridge quarterback to kind of, just keep them afloat until it's time for the 2027 draft and then possibly look at a possibly even more loaded class. That was what I will look at because I feel like Miami has the weapons. Jalen Waddle has shown he can be a number one receiver when needed. He can be a number one receiver. Darren Waller, he's still a pretty good player, even at his even coming out of retirement to come play for the Dolphins. Kane is possibly a top six running back in the league. You could probably some people even got him top five, top four. I'm not mad at that because he's shown that he can be effective when he's given the bulk of carries. He's effective. Ollie Gordon shown that he has flashes of greatness as well. So they have talented pieces. We're not gonna just look at them like they just have nothing and they just need to blow the whole thing up. I think that they just have to add on to what they already have and possibly them winning and building off of the end of this season because while we know the playoffs aren't in sight for them, this could kind of help swing some momentum into the upcoming season, next season, and then they can start to try to figure a few things out organizationally.
So, Nate, let me come back to you on this. Do you think that Tua is the long term option for your Dolphins at quarterback, or do you think that this is a 2 to 3 year thing at best before you get that next long term option in the building?
I mean, I say we need a backup quarterback due to his injuries. If Tua didn't get injured like how he was getting injured, I would say a long-term quarterback. But nah, cause Tua can get hit Sunday and be gone. You know what I'm saying? Like Tua get hit with the slightest little hit, he's done. You know what I'm saying? And he had too many concussions in the short term of his career. I could see if he got a concussion his first year, then got another concussion in his 14th year in the season. You feel what I'm saying? But like some quarterbacks aren't made to run. Like some quarterbacks just get sacked. Like sometimes, bro, you just gotta get sacked and go down. Like Tua is not a running quarterback where he needs to drop his shoulder. He's not a Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? He's not a Baker Mayfield. Like he can't do that. So with that question being said, yes, he would be if he didn't get injured the way he got injured.
I feel you on that 100% because in 2022, 2023, Tua had some really good seasons, but the injuries really just cut it short. But you already pretty much answered this. But my question to you is, do you think Tyreek will be back, or do you think that he's going to be on the first thing smoking out of town?
I hope he don't come back. Stay where you at, Tyreek Hill. We appreciate you coming down, but no, we're good. We'll pick up another slot. As a matter of fact, I need to call the Miami Hurricanes. They need to go and send Malachi Tony over there, man. So we can go make this happen, man. Malachi Tony, we looking for you, brother.
That definitely would not be a bad move. KB, what do you think about it?
Yeah,
Jeremiah.
I don't think that he returns. I honestly I felt like that his frustration, it was kind of being felt. It was like one of those passive aggressive things where although he didn't come out and blast his team in the media, it's kind of like everybody felt it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's tension that honestly you didn't have to say a word. I knew that he was looking to be gone. Even before he got injured, he wasn't involved super heavy in the offense anyways. Like he wasn't the same Tyreek Hill from a few years ago that the Dolphins fell in love with. They got him to the playoffs. So it wasn't like things were just going great in the first place and that he was involved. So I think personally he's gone. I would be surprised if he's back, but I think that everybody needs a new start because, a couple months ago, we were talking that potential trade partners for Tyreek Hill. We were talking about him possibly being a trade piece for the Miami Dolphins to possibly get some, more assets. But I just think that it's one of those things that it ran its course. It was fun to watch while it lasted, but I don't think he needs to come back.
I don't think he will come back. I question if he's going to be anywhere close to the same player coming back because remember, the type of injury he had, his game is built off of speed. And with the type of injury that he had with that broken leg, you got to ask yourself the question, is he going to be able to come back the same player? And he's in his 30s now, too. So we'll
Uh,
see. We'll see what ends up happening. Nate, I'll let you go ahead and close this one out.
Um, with injuries, I feel like with injuries with like the leg, like like when you break something, uh, like the dude, like I know this not on football, but like when Kevin Ware broke his leg on TV, remember with the Louisville, he broke his leg, like he never came back the same. Paul George will never be the same again when he broke his leg. So it's just like when you snap your leg in half like that, it's like it's a mental thing at that point. You know what I'm saying? So you like Tyreek Hill won't be as fast as he was before. He won't be as explosive as he was, but he'll just be Tyree Hill. You know what I'm saying? Like he might have a breakaway game here and there. You used to Tyree Hill breaking away getting like 12, 13 receptions for 100, yards. But if Tyree Hill come back to the league, he needs to go to a team. He needs to go back to the Chiefs. I see him back at the Chiefs.
And that's actually what I was predicting earlier in the season, Nate. I was saying that it's only a matter of time until the Chiefs get the Dolphins back on the phone because the Chiefs offense, this was before Rashee Rice and before Xavier Worthy had came back, and they just looked dismal. I still think that there's a world that could happen, especially if Kansas City ends up missing the playoffs this year, which it still feels a little hard for me to say that we'll actually see that happen because I'm not giving up on them until we actually get to the point to where we see that they have mathematically been eliminated from the playoffs. But it's not looking too good right now. Speaking of teams that it's not looking too good for right now, and KB, I'm gonna just go ahead and give you the floor for this because we're gonna talk about your Falcons and yeah, man, I don't know how to explain what we all saw on Sunday because Kirk Cousins and the offense they did enough for you guys to go out there and win that game. They actually gave B. John Robinson the ball in the game. I couldn't believe it. Your defense, you guys got worked by Tyrod Taylor and whatever is left of the New York Jets. And one thing in particular that I want to point out, because this goes to show how undisciplined and where this is a problem with coaching. There was a point in the game where you guys were back to receive a punt, and for some reason, your punt returner was fielding a punt at the 5 yard line, doesn't come up with the ball. It bounces off him. The New York Jets recover it, and they score. At what point does Arthur Blank finally decide, all right, it's time to clean house? We tried. It's time to start over, do something different. Starting with Raheem Morris. Terry Fontenot is going to be out of there too. Even though he has done a decent job in the past 2 seasons of constructing a roster together, the fact that you guys right now have the number 8 overall pick in this upcoming draft and you don't own it, but the LA Rams do, a team that we are looking at that could potentially win the Super Bowl this year. And we also don't know what your long-term solution at quarterback is going to be, because we've already came to the determination that we don't know if we trust Michael Penix just yet, especially with his injury history. That alone is going to get him out the door. And Rich McKay needs to go along with him too. But we can go ahead and toss it to you so you can talk about week 13 and this team that continues to let you down over and over again.
Yeah, if I had to really describe everything that I saw on Sunday, it would be lifeless. It would be uninspiring. It would just be bad football. Like you just said, Jamal Agnew, everybody knows, and we've known this from Little League to middle school to high school to now professionals. Inside that 10-yard line, you let that ball go every single time. You do not, there's no way that you even attempt to try to catch the ball. And if you looked at it, that swung the momentum in the game, because literally a play later, Breece Hall walks in from the 2-yard line for a score, because up to that point, the Jets were not moving the ball. Now, I do feel like the Falcons have just a bad culture. I've said it numerous times. And I know a lot of people are now still, like, after that game, we're calling for the firing of Raheem Morris. I don't see what the purpose of firing him now would be. You pretty much dealt yourself the hand that you have, that pretty much a bad hand already. So why would I give someone else a bad hand instead of letting him finish out the mess that he's helped create? Let him finish the season out. Let Zach Robinson finish the season out. Let everyone who helped create this mess finish the season. Because it is not fair to put that on someone else to come and clean up y'all's mess that y'all helped create. If you have some of the worst losses this season by any team in the league, you have a 30-10 game against, or was it 34-10 game against the Miami Dolphins at home. You lose that game. You lose 30-0 at Carolina. You lose 27-24 at the Jets. Your only signature win that you can honestly say that you have this season was a home game against Buffalo early in the season, when that was the last time that I really felt any hope in this team. Honestly, I don't have any hope for this team this year. There's so much uncertainty next year with Michael Penix being on the shelf, pretty much going to possibly miss the entire season. Kirk Cousins looking like he's possibly out of the door because he wants to still be a starting quarterback in the league. And he has that team option, which I think he has either a team or player option from his deal that he signed 2 seasons ago. So this is one of those things where there's a lot of uncertainty, even to the point where now people are asking, do you trade Drake London or Bijan Robinson? I don't believe, like, just to recover assets, I don't believe that would be the solution. I just think that the Falcons have to stop giving opportunities to coaches that are just trying to either make a name for themselves or trying to recover something that they once had. Raheem Morris, before he even got to the Falcons, for better terms, he was a loser. He didn't even have a winning record before he got to the Falcons. And you look, go ahead, X.
Not to cut you off, but when that hiring happened, I was down here in the Tampa area, as I've been for nearly the past 7 years now, and all I heard people saying was, good luck with Ra. Go ahead.
But it just makes sense, because you look at all the other coaches that they interviewed, Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson. You look at all these guys that they interviewed, and they went with Raheem Morris. And all of these guys, Mike Vrabel has the number 1 seed in the AFC, potentially, going into the playoffs. Ben Johnson possibly has the number 1 seed going into the playoffs in the NFC with the Chicago Bears. And you settled on Raheem Morris, who who's 2 coordinators he selected. Never called defense before, never called offense before. You can't make this up. I don't know why we got this Make-A-Wish Foundation franchise where we giving everybody a first chance to do this and do this, but like that's why I understand why people are saying that Arthur Blank needs to sell the team, because if you're not going to help put a winner together in Atlanta, then we can't expect everything to be done from the bottom level if the top level is just as bad. So I would like to see Arthur Blank sell the team, Rich McKay gone, Terry Fontenot gone, Raheem Morris gone, Zach Robinson gone. Everyone needs to go except Jeff Obert, because I still believe in what he's doing, but it doesn't help your defense being great because they're top 5 in sacks and they have a losing record. And I believe everyone on that list, outside of maybe the Falcons and I think Cleveland, I'm not sure what Houston's record is, but those teams in total are supposed to have great defenses. But it doesn't help when your offense is stalling out 3 and out almost every other drive. It doesn't help when you have a superstar in Bijan Robinson and he isn't touching the ball at least 20 times a game. It doesn't help to have a top 10 receiver in Drake London who can't get one-on-one opportunities more often than he should. And it doesn't help the fact that you have one of the worst, and I will say it may be the worst, special teams unit in the entire league. What I have seen from the special teams unit this season has been atrocious. They can't receive punts. They can't receive kicks. They can't defend punts. They can't defend kicks. They can't do anything right. You fired the wide receiver coach, but kept the special teams coach. I just don't understand what you're doing. So I ain't gonna lie. I gotta toss it back to y'all because I pretty much don't say what I need to say. I'm sick of all of it. I don't want. They can't hurt me anymore because I'm pretty much I'm immune to all of it. After 2016, I'm immune to all of it. But yeah, y'all got this, man. I'm done.
So before we get to the rest of this, because I actually got a question I'm gonna throw your way in a bit. Nate, you got any reaction to what KB had to say right there?
34-10. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that was quite a showing at the stadium when that happened that day too. That literally was the game that brought the Miami Dolphins back to life for this season, or at least save some jobs. So KB, let me throw it back to you on this, because we've been saying for the majority of this season now at this point that Raheem Morris needs to go. Who would you like to see replace him in that spot, realistically?
If you're talking on a realistic standpoint, honestly, I think that really I don't know who the real suitors are, because the coaching class that was out there before this past season, before Raheem Morris was hired, was possibly one of the most loaded classes of coaches that you could have selected from, and you literally selected the worst of the bunch. I don't even know if I could have did that with my eyes closed. I could have selected the worst coach out of all the coaches that you interviewed. Like, I just think right now that they're gonna just possibly, it would be an Atlanta Falcons thing to do to say, Jeff Obert, we're gonna make you the permanent head coach. I think that would just be an Atlanta Falcons thing to do, just because it just makes so much sense. Just because they have such a weird thing that they like to do, where they like to promote in-house instead of paying for great coaching. Like, Mike Vrabel was standing right there. Now, do I think he would have went to the Falcons over the Patriots? Absolutely not. But you could at least have, I want him instead of Raheem Morris. Like, even Liam Cohen, he looks even better down in Jacksonville doing what he's doing than what Raheem Morris is doing in his short tenure with the Falcons. And my problem is he was already an interim coach. Why did you bring him back? Why did you bring Raheem Morris back? I don't know, man. I'm pretty much sick of it all.
So to your point about Liam Cohen, I just want to make one thing clear too. He is very much missed in Tampa because if you've been watching the Buccaneers offense for the past month and a half, what started off very strong this season, and I know that there are injuries there too. It should be noted that Mike Evans actually was a practice participant today. So I don't think he's going to play this week, but he could be back for the Thursday night game against, ironically enough, the Falcons on December the 11th. So that would be a welcome sight for them. Hopefully, that's not bringing him back too soon. But what Liam Cohen had in his system offensively a year ago, oh, you can tell that it is not the same offense down here without him being there. Baker Mayfield is not the same quarterback without Liam Cohen's offense from a year ago. It worked for about the first 6 weeks this season. You've seen it stall kind of the rest of the way. It improved a little this past week because Bucky Irvin came back. If Bucky Irvin hadn't came back, I'm not so sure Arizona wouldn't have beaten them on Sunday. But yes, to your point, that loaded coaching class where they chose the worst out of the bunch. I mean, what if I told you that Mike Tomlin was available? Would you want Mike Tomlin if he's willing to pick the right offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I'm glad you put that disclaimer there because that is their number one problem. Like, I think that Mike Tomlin is kind of set in his ways pretty much. He doesn't get me as excited as another name. And I don't know why this name didn't jump out to me the first time you asked me this question. I'm telling you, if they can go lure LaFleur out of Green Bay, if they do not, if they and I know it's just like it's a fever dream, like it's just like a shot in the dark. I would give him a key to the city. I give him unlimited wings at Magic City just for him to get down here. I would give him a blank check and tell him to sign on the dotted line. Whatever amount that he is asking for, we will pay it, and we will pay it a handsome fine for any type of tampering that we have to pay to get him over here. Because I do feel like that Mike Tomlin will not have the same, like he won't that consecutive years of a winning record. Oh, that'll end the first year with us. I guarantee you. I guarantee you he will have a losing record if he comes to Atlanta. Yeah, you can go ahead and wrap it up. Call it a day. He doesn't get me as excited as Matt LaFleur does. I'm sorry. I just think that Matt LaFleur as a play caller also would be a great hire for the Falcons. Does that mean that he's available? No. I also think that happens to feel like, his name was floated around if Green Bay fizzes out in the playoffs once again. I just still don't see like why they would let him go because like you said, great head coaches are hard to come by. He would just be the name that would get me the most excited. But honestly, X, I would like to see someone like as far as an OC, Clint Kingsbury. I would love to see him be the OC in Atlanta. I really just felt like that as an OC specifically, not a head coach, but just as an OC, he would be a great hire. If Mike McDaniel is fired from the Dolphins, I would like to see him as a possible OC hire for the Atlanta Falcons. Because while I'm questionable about their decision making as a head coach, I do like what they bring as far as an offensive coordinator standpoint. Their game plans are way better than whatever Zach Robinson is calling right now. We can ditch that pistol offense once and for all, and we can possibly make Bijan into the superstar all-pro that he's supposed to be every year undoubtedly. So that's just my opinion, but hey.
It is interesting that he said that though, Nate, because now that I think about it, we haven't really heard about any hot shot coordinators this season. We haven't. The two that stand out in particular to me, one who I know is probably not going to get a head coaching job again, and that is Vance Joseph. The next one would be Brian Flores after him. But those are defensive guys. And I know that Mike Tomlin's a defensive guy too, and I said him. The only reason I said him is because of all of the experience and the cachet that comes with him. To me, whatever the Falcons do next, they need to be looking at somebody that really understands offense because although we're asking the questions, is Penix going to end up being the long-term option? You're kind of at least stuck with him for the next 2 seasons or so. So you got to figure out how you can consistently get him going. I do believe that there's something there, but they got to get the right person in the building. You didn't bring up one name in particular, and that would be the name of Brian Daboll, who I know was with the New York Giants. And I know that we look at him differently because of how things went with the New York Giants. But let us not forget that Brian Daboll is the same offensive coordinator that got Josh Allen going to the level that Josh Allen is right now. And maybe, just maybe, as long as injuries are not a factor, he could do some similar things with Michael Penix Jr. Maybe it's worth the call. If it's not for the head coaching job, at least it could be for the offensive coordinator position.
I mean, at this point, I'm entertaining everything. Like I'm not super excited about the idea of Brian Daboll being in Atlanta, but honestly, at this point, we can only go up. Like it's already at rock bottom. So as far as like, saying Brian Daboll or even Mike Tomlin possibly becoming the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, I think all of this is contingent on what could possibly happen. Could, you know, because Mike Tomlin, honestly, if the Steelers were to go on a run, possibly go on a run, make the playoffs, and possibly, winning one game at least, may save his job. I think that that's just more of the fans of Pittsburgh kind of being tired of mediocrity because they've had a winning record, but it hasn't produced any Super Bowls lately. So all of that is contingent on whether they can win. But as far as the Falcons, they just need help overall. Like, maybe the National Guard will send somebody in, or maybe we can get some government assistance, just somebody help. Like I'm tired of being the butt of the jokes. I just want to see one Super Bowl, and I can die happy after that. But since that won't happen in the next, I say 50 years, I just chill. I ain't gonna do too much.
Nate, you got any comment on any of that?
I'm gonna let my boy live, man, because he sound real stressed out. He just sound like this man just said, "Bring in the National Guards." I'm done. He got it. Yeah, he good. Go Falcons,
I'm trying my best to try to bring him some hope here, but it's hard because, like, again, there are no big shot names out there this year now that you think about it.
bro. The Falcons, like, bro. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. Let me stop playing. I'm gonna be real. The Falcons, they have a great team. Like, their defense is crazy. When I seen them play the Bills like that, when they went to travel to Minnesota and they beat Minnesota at home. I'm like, bro, their defense is fire. Like, I was like nervous when we was about to play them, but I'm just like, nah. Then I started watching the Falcons for real because, of course, it's the home team, so I'm gonna watch my home team. You know what I'm saying? Because I stay in Atlanta, but like, I've just watched it and the coaching is just terrible. Like, y'all lost to the Jets last week is crazy. Y'all had 3 timeouts, drove down the field. Y'all turned up, y'all punted it. Bro, took the punt. First of all, it was a bad punt. You feel me? Then they had Michi the third, dropped the pass, caught a pass, dropped the pass, caught a pass. Y'all didn't call no timeouts. They used their timeout and it's made a 56. Y'all should have called timeout, iced the kicker, kept icing the kicker, iced the kicker 3 times. Boom. Made him miss it. A 56-yard field goal is hard to make on the first try. That's terrible. But like y'all Falcon fans say, bro, it's the Falcons. That's what we do. And I just hate hearing that, bro.
Hey, you just said it, man. 56-yard field goal in the rain. I don't think that people understand how hard that field goal is, but when I tell you anything is possible when you play in the Falcons, you will make the empire. We made Tyrod Taylor look like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I don't think that anybody understands. Tua was struggling when he came to play the Falcons and Mercedes-Benz, and he had a career day. It's almost like you schedule the Falcons like you would a college team that you want to play for your homecoming to look good in front of the fans. It looks good, so we're gonna schedule one of the worst teams. The Falcons, it didn't matter. We clowned them last year because they didn't win with a top five easiest schedule. And if you look at it, their schedule is like middle of the pack, but it's not that bad this year. They still have some heavy hitters to come from the NFC West that with Seattle and LA still approaching. But it really wasn't that bad this year for them to have this type of record in the division where even Tampa Bay sputtered a lot. So it was not even like they were trying to win at one point. The Tampa Bay, I ain't gonna lie, Tampa Bay did not have the injuries that they've sustained this year, they possibly would have been running away with this division. It's just because this is possibly the worst division in football. If you take out the Saints, take out the Falcons, they could be decent division, a decent two-team division. But with these four teams, if you look at totality, this is one of the worst divisions in football, and you're not even competitive in one of the worst divisions in football. That is why I say y'all can't hurt me no more with these people. I cannot be hurt. I don't live through pandemics, the recession. Y'all cannot hurt me with this team no more. I'm done. I will not be wearing a jersey. I barely will wear a t-shirt. I am not finna sport this. Yeah, you can put up that chain. I will not be doing the same. I'm good on all of it.
So KB needs to see some significant changes. One final question about this whole thing I do need to ask y'all, though, and this is not about the Falcons. This is about the Jets. Although they are happy that they got the win, this is a team that we know does not have their franchise quarterback in the building yet. And I just have to ask, if they continue to win at least one or two more games down the stretch like this, because it is clear that Aaron Glenn's teams do at least play hard, are they playing themselves out of that number one overall pick and potentially getting Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana?
Yeah, I think they lost it. I think they did because, like I said, I think that the worst records in the league right now are owned by Las Vegas and Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. And Tennessee has their quarterback, but you have to look at Las Vegas. They need a quarterback, and they looking to start over. So I think they might have played themselves out of it because while I think that you know Tennessee has a bright future with Cam Ward, I do think that Las Vegas, especially with Pete Carroll, we know what he likes to do. I think that he needs a quarterback. Like he needs one significantly, and I think that they might have just played themselves out of it because, like you said, Aaron Glenn's teams do play hard, and those do sometimes translate into wins. We saw it with the Falcons when they played the Falcons. We saw it when they played the Browns. Sometimes that just being scrappy and gritty. You got guys that are still trying to solidify their spots in the NFL, so they're not going to just give in and tank and be okay with tanking. Those guys are trying to play for their possibly next contract. So I think they might have just played themselves out of it, but we'll see.
Fellas, we got to get to some quick hitters. And speaking of the Raiders, Justin Herbert and the Chargers took on the Raiders in Week 13. He ended up breaking his hand. It was his non-throwing hand. I believe he had surgery earlier this week. He is said to be day-to-day. Hopefully everything's all right there because obviously if there's no Justin Herbert out there, there's no chance for the Chargers.
Done. Finished. It's over with. That was their you know how a frog be on a lily pad. That was their lily pad, and it's done. They done, bro.
I
They
mean, we'll
done.
see how they end up coming back from this because he's day to day. He could play this week. I just don't know how effective that's necessarily going to be. It should be noted this too, though. They get Amari and Hampton back this week, and we know that Jim Harbaugh loves to run the football. He goes back to his days at San Francisco with Michigan, now with the Chargers. That's something that they could use to their advantage too. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. The Bears are currently in first place in the NFC. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card in any way whatsoever. And I've been waiting for them to trip up KB, but after what they went to Philadelphia and did on Black Friday, I'm starting to believe in this team a little bit more now.
I believe in Ben Johnson. I believe in what his message that he's preaching. I believe that he holds his guys accountable, and he's the best. He honestly is the best coach for Caleb Williams' development. I think that from last year to now, you see the difference in Caleb Williams. He looks more comfortable. He looks a little bit more poised. He looks like he knows how to, command an offense. And honestly, I think that has a large in part to do with Ben Johnson. So they are going to be pretty good. I think that I'm still kind of, iffy on their defense, but they are going to be pretty good from an offensive standpoint because especially if they can run the ball like they did against Philadelphia, they're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, man, Caleb Williams definitely looks like that Caleb Williams at USC. Like literally. Like they look good. Like I said earlier, man, the NFL is like super balanced right now. It's a lot of like sleeper teams that wasn't good as good. Like I didn't expect the Colts to be how they are, but the Bears, they definitely look great. Like you said, what they just did to the Eagles, like they ain't just win, they beat the Eagles. It's a difference between winning and beating. They beat the Eagles for sure.
Before we get to the next quick hitter, I got to fit this in though, since we did bring up the Eagles. KB, I find it very interesting, and I was waiting for this to happen. I find it very interesting that since the Eagles have been force feeding AJ Brown the ball, even though they've been losing, he's been very quiet. I never bought into this whole notion of I want to win, but I want to get my numbers too. Nah, bro, you acting just like Antonio Brown was now. You just want to get your numbers at this point. You don't necessarily care if you win too much at this point. We haven't heard a peep out of him the past 2 weeks in Philadelphia. And I thought for sure we would have heard something from him by now.
Yeah, man, that just goes to show, like, that, and especially now that he has one, like, it really is about just getting his numbers at this point. All he really cared about was the statistics. And, you know, he wanted to just be looked at as, a true number one on a championship team. But now it doesn't really look like that's his aspiration. It looks like he just wants to be a number one receiver, command the bulk of the targets, get the shine, and whether that produces wins or losses, that's not really his concern. He looks at that's more of a team thing, but I don't have to, buy into the whole team thing if I'm just looking at trying to get my numbers because I'm looking at possibly I look at AJ Brown as one of those guys that he would rather put up, 1,500 yards, 12, 13 touchdowns, but lose every game. And he'll be perfectly fine with that. I could be wrong, but that's just what it gives off right now. Like he would rather put up numbers and lose than be a part of a contributor team, put up lesser stats and win. That's just how it looks to me.
All right, fellas, let's get to some of the moves happening in college football, in particular with the coaching carousel, starting with the one that happened today. Brian Hartline is leaving Ohio State University to become the next head coach at USF. KB, how you feel about that move?
Love it. Love it. Love anything that is going on with Ohio State. I think they breed winners. I think that he's going to be great for South Florida.
Nate, how you feeling about the Bulls making this move?
What?
And not to
What?
mention Chris Henry Jr., who was supposed to go to Ohio State. It came out today that he has not filed his paperwork to go to Ohio State. And ironically enough, all of this happened today on the early national signing day period that exists now because of the NIL and the transfer portal.
X, we talking about the head coach right now of Ohio State.
No. The offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Oh, okay. I heard that wrong, bro. I was like, hold on, time out on the podcast, on the play. Oh my God. Definitely a great move for sure. I mean, Ohio State is great. Like I said, I'm not biased to anything, but I definitely see them winning the national championship this year for
I
sure.
wasn't sure exactly where USF was going to be able to go from here after Golish left on Sunday. Getting to him now, he is now the head coach at Auburn. KB, I've been saying all year he was going to be somewhere. I just didn't know where. We heard last week that Arkansas was rumored. I didn't necessarily like that for him because I think there's a lot of work to do in that program. I think Auburn's going to be the better fit.
Yeah, you knew he was going to get a look at a Power Five school just off of the success that they sustained earlier this year. I just knew that he was going to get a bunch of people calling his phone, and with schools calling like Auburn, Arkansas, you knew that it was too good, for him to pass up. I like this move. I like the fact that he got the opportunity to go, expand his coaching career. I think it's a good move as well. Like I just was proud of the job that he did this year with USF. because, like you said, from the start of the season, he put the world on notice that they were a contender. And, just the schedule that they had at the beginning of the season, playing on the road, playing at home against the quality of contenders that he did, even going toe to toe with Miami at one point. I got to give him his respect. I am happy that he got this opportunity, and we'll just see where he goes from here. But it's a good look.
Another good look, I would say, is for the Florida Gators. I didn't know what to necessarily make out of them hiring John Sumrall at first, but fellas, I watched that entire press conference because, of course, I have to break this stuff down and cover it where I am down here. And the first thing that I noticed is just the energy. He's got this infectious energy about him, and he said it himself in his presser. I am a winner. Florida is getting a winner. We are going to win because I am a winner. Nate, do you think the Gators got this move right?
Definitely, definitely, definitely. I feel like the Gators have always been a winning dynasty to me. Cause I've always used to watch Tim Tebow, when they had Percy Harvin, when they had Riley Cooper, when they had Jeffrey Demps. So it's just like, us watching football, watching these teams go from good to bad. I would love to see a team that went from good to bad. Now they're going from bad to great. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want to see the Florida Gators win. And I definitely want to see a competition. I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. Shout out to the U. So I definitely want to see better competition when we play the Gators because that's a big rivalry. You know what I'm saying? So
Not only that, Nate, you need Florida State to make some type of comeback too. It's been bad.
hey, Florida State, they had me at my high horse when they beat Bama like that. You feel me? But I feel like when they beat Bama, man, they beat Bama off of momentum, and it was just at home, one of the first games of the season. I think that was Bama head coach second season, or that was his first. This is his first season.
Second season, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like we just talked about earlier, head coaches got to get used to the program, and sometimes, bro, like we on the part of head coaches. Sometimes, man, it's hard to fill shoes when you had a legendary coach like Urban Meyer left the Gators, so it's hard to fill shoes at Urban Meyer. Uh, buddy, that coach for Bama, it's hard to fill shoes. It's definitely hard to fill shoes for what Nick Saban has done for college football. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a like I said, bro, it's an ongoing thing. It'll never stop. It'll never stop. Recruits never stop. The draft never stops. Like, so when you get head coaches to come and fill in different shoes, like I got faith that Bill Belichick, North Carolina is gonna be good. The Tar Heels is gonna be great in about 2 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about adjusting and it's all about, everybody being on one accord. But yes, to piggyback off that, yes, I think Florida Gators will be good. I hope they're good next year because I like the Gators. I like the Gators. Definitely SEC football. So that means you're gonna give Bama a run for their money. You're gonna give Georgia a run for their money, Vanderbilt a run for their money. You know what I'm saying? So and the SEC is just powerhouse football anyway. Like they've been powerhouse football since we've been kids. So, now they just powerhouse anyway. So I want to see an SEC team play a Big 12 team, Big 10 team. Like I would want to see like if it was my option, I would want to see Georgia play Ohio State. That would be a great national championship. You know what I'm saying? Powerhouse, powerhouse versus powerhouse. I get tired of seeing SEC versus SEC. I like seeing the SEC play another team, Big 10 or the Big 12. But they got rid of one of the conferences. So that's just the stuff I want to see. So yeah, I definitely want to see not my Gators, but I want to see the Gators do great for sure.
One more coaching move we'll talk about here, and this one was viewed as a bit controversial. I think it's actually going to be a great move for the on the field product. Michigan State hiring Pat Fitzgerald, the former head coach at Northwestern. KB, how you feel about Pat Fitzgerald going and taking over the Spartans?
Yeah, I always thought that Pat always did a great job at Northwestern. I thought that he was a great hire. I honestly, I was a little bit shocked at the move that he was, hired, but I honestly can't say like when we were growing up, I used to sometimes tune in at noon on Saturdays to watch some of the Northwestern games. I haven't done that in a long time, but I used to. and he always, had a winning record. So it was for me, it was a good hire. I think that he's going to do a great job, and like I said, good to see him back at one of those Power Five schools.
And you know that the boosters are going to bring the money. Magic Johnson and all those notable alumni, they're going to bring the money to bring the resources that are needed right there. There's another big coaching change that happened in college football over the weekend. Everybody had been anticipating it, and we're going to break it down for you in part two. But we got to go ahead and shut down part one right here. We'll be right back in just a moment. XKB and Nate coming back at you. Stay tuned.